Hi guys, welcome to the 8th episode of Score Couch. My name is Olaf, I'm one of the co-founders of Score Digital, and I would like to welcome you to our podcast where we talk about technology, software development, UX UI design, and all of the things that relate to digital. Today, my guest is Roman Swoszowski, who is a VP for AI and Cloud R&D at Grape, and we are going to talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning. I'm here today with Roman, who is a VP for AI and Cloud R&D at Grape. Hi Roman.
Hi Olaf.
And we are going to cover artificial intelligence, which is a very trendy topic nowadays.
Yes, I think that it's on one hand side, it's a very common buzzword for the last few years, and we would agree with me. But at the same time, I think AI is one of the biggest promises of the current times, and everyone is seeing that. Not only companies, but also end users like you and me. But primarily because we are focusing on AI within, let's say, this enterprise setting, enterprise world. Yeah, this is something that companies are looking at as, like I said, a very big promise, something that they are seeing, they are perceiving as this new fuel that can really skyrocket them into new possibilities.
Yeah, I agree with you. So it's a buzzword, it's a broad term that fits a lot of things in it.
Yes.
A lot of people see a threat in AI for the us as humanity, as humans. Other people see the biggest promise for the development of everything, the thing that might save the environment, right, and so on. Mm-hmm. So maybe let's start with definition. How do you understand AI? Like, what does it mean for you, from the perspective of your job, of the industry that you are in?
So to be honest, I do not know the official scientific definition, okay. But probably if you went to Wikipedia and look there, you would see something like, artificial intelligence is the capability of showing intelligent behaviors by things or programs, computer programs, but not only machines, something that is being created by human, right? So as opposite to the natural intelligence, this is intelligent behavior shown by a machine, something created by human. But of course, in this technology context, it refers more to a computer program being capable of showing or mimicking this certain behaviors or certain things that we as humans are capable of, right? So making decisions in a setting of not having all the data available, or understanding certain meanings or things based on only partial information coming from outside. So I think we should focus on that meaning of artificial intelligence, so more this technological rather than philosophical, because of course there is still this other part of meaning of that term. Whereas, like you said, we or some people are seeing this threat. If this is something that can really endanger us as humanity, what if we create this true so-called generic AI? But if we just focus for now on this more technological part, because this is what is really possible at the moment, I think we're safe.
Okay, cool. So let's go down one step ladder. So we are going down from a philosophical terms to technology, but yet again we are entering very broad and very,
yes.
I would say, divided on one hand, on the other hand, very specialized in some aspects, in some domains, how do you call it, like a sector within the IT or a specialty within the IT. So there are a lot of things that come into play when it comes to AI. What have you seen in the last couple of months, years, that you find as the most interesting ones, or the ones that are worth focusing on?
Mm-hmm. So, like you said, the AI is a very broad term, right? By the way, just like cloud is, right?
Yes.
When you say cloud, it's all or nothing. But of course, AI, yes, has some several areas, domains related to particular, as they're called, computational problems, right? Because if we are looking at things like computer vision, so all the algorithms or methods that really base on the visual input and then try or their goal is to provide you with some additional information based on that visual input. So we have computer vision, we have natural language processing, we have and natural language processing can be also based on the textual input, right? But also on the audio input.
Voice.
So there are several domains related to or mapped to those specific computational problems, computational tasks within the AI, right? And I think they all develop in a similar speed, at similar speed. I don't think that there is one particular area that really
in an avant-garde,
that really sees this huge development or very fast development, because AI can be really applied in many areas of our everyday life, but also within for very different areas of business cases, right? There is no single or no simple mapping between computer vision only applies or primarily applies to that industry, or NLP, so natural language processing, applies to another industry, and so on. It's really all mix and match. So if you look at example use cases or example usages of, for instance, computer vision solutions, then you will see that they are present even now, without looking far into the future. They're present now in, almost any industry, almost any vertical. But like I said in the very beginning, all those use cases, all those applications of AI are perceived by companies. Well, companies are really seeing the value in that, right? It is a buzzword still, of course, especially for people who are not really, who do not really understand what AI can do for you or what AI can do for their businesses. But at the same time, if you are already past that step and you have this understanding, okay, AI is not something that will really solve all my problems within
or
business.
Hijack my company.
Exactly, right? Remove all your employees, yes. and you just everything goes by itself. If you already understand that and you're past that step, then you will see that it can really do a lot for you. And what it can do for you, I think that is a natural question. So without going into specific industries, I think right now, at the moment where we are with technology and available technology and possibilities, the primary benefit that AI can bring to the table is automation of processes, automation of tasks. Certain parts that previously would need to be either done by human, manual tasks, and they do not need to be very difficult, because difficult problems have been solved already by computer programs, by systems, and we already have that. And AI can really help right now solve us problems or automate those manual repeatable tasks that are easy but very time consuming, and therefore they're costly, right?
Yeah, and especially that's a very interesting thing that you bring up, because back in the day I was working at a consulting company, and I was selling robotic process automation in the times when there was actually maybe not no term, but almost no term for robotic process automation, because that was back in the day it was being done by Visual Basic, written on the simple Excel, and you've had your task for a senior manager that had to do the calculation of a report exported from SAP, combine it with another report from I don't know, some kind of human capital management system, and then put the results into separate PDFs and send over 24 documents to his subordinates, telling them about the commission that they're receiving or something like that. So at the time I remember that it was creating a whole lot of whoa during the meetings, because it's like, whoa, this can be done. And it was really time saving, especially for the senior management, because if you've had a task that you would do bi-weekly, that takes 3 or 4 hours of your time, that's a very expensive time that you can put into other activities. So saving money for sure, but what else do you think AI can do?
Saving money through automation. You can save money on one hand side, but also AI can really open new possibilities. So open new business line or business opportunities that were previously not available, not possible. And why is that? So by having or introducing those new algorithms that are able to learn, that is improve over time based on the data they are consuming, they are receiving, we are able to create systems, applications, solutions that really can improve themselves over time, therefore providing better and better user experience, better services, or whatever they are doing, right? And that actually gets us to this term machine learning, right? Which is one of the elements of the whole AI domain. And actually, I've just explained that, right? Machine learning is basically when a system is able to improve itself over time based on the data that it's seeing or it's getting as an input. This is primarily how we learn as well as humans, right? We see certain data, and then we make decisions based on that data. And of course, as we see more data, we can make better decisions. Yeah, sure. This is exactly the same thing with machine learning. So using those such algorithms that are based on, that can learn, that can improve over time, can open some new possibilities, introduce certain features that were not available before, and therefore providing new, better services for customers.
Okay, so this is, I think, if you've touched on a very important topic. Mm-hmm. Where is this, border between automation, so robotic process automation, and machine learning? So when actually technology becomes not only a piece of code, basically, mm-hmm. and that can mimic your action, but can do one step more. And I think naturally another question: where does this end? So where the problem can emerge when there is a limit into what this particular piece of software can learn by itself, and when the actual developer need to step in.
So RPA, robotic process automation, is basically just another type of algorithm, more complex than a regular piece of code, let's say. But basically it is a algorithm, a set of steps that need to be executed one by one. And therefore it automates a certain process. Like you said before with this VB macro example, right? Take this data, paste it here, do some filtering, send it over there, and so on. But this is a well-defined process from the beginning to the end, right? Whereas machine learning actually starts being helpful in a situation where we are not able to define the whole process end to end. So we are not able to tell the machine how it should process the data to achieve the final goal, right? Or to provide the output we would like to see. So when we are not able to define the algorithm end to end, this is where ML comes to help, or well, ML methods in general, right? This is where we can start using ML models, neural networks, so those things that are able to learn based on the input data and then provide some output, of course based on certain criteria or parameters, but provides output, and the result is not deterministic, just like with algorithm, right? Because algorithm is basically a set of steps that always produces the same result. Yeah. So with the same data, always produce the same result. Yeah, but for machine learning, this is where if we are not able to define the whole thing, that's when we can use machine learning.
Okay, so that's interesting. I think that this also has the other side to it. So this can be also dangerous, right? Mm-hmm. In some cases. I remember back in the day, I think it was around 3 or 4 years ago, that Microsoft have introduced some kind of AI/machine learning algorithm mm-hmm. to Twitter, and it was tweeting on its own. So it was tweeting, and after I think a couple of hours, it started to produce some fascist/hatred stuff around the tweeting to people with some not pleasant, let's say, topic, not politically correct for sure, mm-hmm. and they've had to shut it down. So
yeah, so of course we are still in a crib when it comes to the technology, AI technology. Of course, well, the technology itself is not new, right? Because the first scientific works on that were in 50s, something like that. So yeah, it's over half a century work right now available to use. But still, even with all this technology improvements and development, we are still very limited when it comes to the actual practical implementation and application of AI. Of course, it rocketed for the last few years, and that's why we are talking about that right now. Mm-hmm. But like you said, even things which are very capable, like this Twitter solution, right, that was able to provide tweets, automated tweets, it's really easy to hack them, fake them, right? So, and we do not yet have ready available solutions to really prevent that. Of course, there are works that are executed to get there. But we're not there yet, right? And maybe this is something that it's well, as a concept, it's more closely related to this philosophical part of AI, right? Where we are talking about generic AI, true artificial intelligence, which is able to react for such situations, right? But at the moment, we are really at the automation level, very advanced, improved automation level, right, of certain tasks, what I said in the beginning.
Yeah, so, but this also freaks people out, right? When they see something like that going mm-hmm. just profoundly wrong, because probably of some very small, thing that was overlooked somewhere in the development process.
Sure, but even if you look at I don't know, your smartphone, right? In the iPhone you have this assistant, Siri assistant, right? Things like that, which are also very impressive if you use them as they were designed to, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, it's super easy to really fool them and have them say stupid things.
Yeah,
right?
or do, I remember
or do stupid things.
I remember
exactly.
that back in the day when Alexa was introduced, as an assistant, there was, I don't remember if there was some kind of a commercial or advertisement on TV saying a certain phrase, or an advertisement on YouTube, and Alexa was actually ordering stuff for people at their homes because they were listening to it, and she was. So but that's a very also good point, that AI or those assistants are becoming also part of our lives. I've heard that by the 2022 or 2023, 85% of American homes will have some kind of intelligent speaker assistant, not necessarily Alexa, but something implemented. But going back to the business perspective, do you think, or because I've heard that there are also situations in which AI can struggle when there is a different set of data presented to it. So when the input of data is changing rapidly because something have unexpectedly changed, especially now in the context, not now, but a year and a half ago when the pandemic hit some markets, there were some extraordinary things happening, like increased amount of orders in one industry and extremely decreased amount of stuff in the other. So this affected, cloud infrastructures, this affected, business models and so on. I don't have to give an example because there were lots of them, but what do you think about that? Is that the case? Is that the thing that you need to carefully look at? How do you present data to AI, or is this something that becomes less and less of a problem with time?
Well, maybe this is not a problem, I wouldn't call it a problem, but definitely something that needs to be considered. Because, well, any machine learning solution is basically as good as the data that you have at the very beginning. And by the way, without that data that you used to train the solution, you are not able to build anything, right? So even if you have the greatest idea and greatest team of people, right, skilled people to develop the solution, if you don't have the data, you're not able to do anything, or the quality of the thing that you will eventually produce will be very poor. So the data is crucial for any ML solution, both for the actual development, for creating that solution, but also later on, like you said. And this is very important to remember that eventually this ML solution takes the input data and then process that data, outputs certain recommendation, prediction, whatever we want it to provide. And yes, there is this always this danger, possibility of so-called data drift. That's a term used in the domain, where the system is getting different type of data that it was trained on, right? And what happens then? Well, it starts to providing less accurate predictions or some silly recommendations. Basically, the output that is not what we wanted it to produce. So, very common solution to that problem, to that situation, is that, well, a system needs to be continually trained or periodically retrained based on new type of data coming in. Of course, in a system where we have this continuous flow stream of data, input data, it's relatively easy, right? Because as we see data changing, input data changing, we can of course store it somewhere, then use it for another, let's say, another iteration of training, and then adjust the model, adjust the system to this new type of data coming in, right? Which eventually should eliminate that situation that we are talking about. However, for solutions that are do not receive that big amount of input data. It might be a bit harder, especially when we are operating on that type of data in the very beginning, but then suddenly we are starting to getting completely different type of data, right? Then of course the system will not be able to process that. So it happens. It's quite common, I would say, but this is not maybe a problem, something to just keep in mind when developing and designing such a solution.
Okay. Okay, so we've covered corporate, we've covered SMEs. We know even that we can use this on a daily basis. That's great. I think that's a pretty good summary of a conversation that I thought that it will be about corporates. Do you think that you can, that might come as a surprise? Mm-hmm. Do you have any predictions for 2021? And we are 6 months into the year. You've probably seen some things happening on the market. Do you think that something will get significant traction this year within the AI domain, or something will happen, will change, or we will see some shifts, some interesting things happening?
Well, I cannot tell globally. However, I can tell you what I see as trends or things that are happening and will happen within the next half a year, 2 years. So not very far ahead. Within the industries that we are focusing on as with our company. So for insurance, for instance, we are seeing those trends with usage-based insurance, for instance, right? Where you're really buying insurance, just like I don't know, you're paying per use with a cloud or with a car. You can rent the car for minutes, and this is also something that insurers would like to offer and getting there. So usage-based insurance allows you to buy an insurance for kilometers or just for 2 hours when I'm driving from here to Wrocław, right? So things like that. You are not really buying a policy for a year, which is usually it's like that right now, but just based on some usage, either shorter time or kilometers, like you said, or whatever else. And of course, that is a trend in insurance, but how that translates to AI, of course, you need to have some solutions that are able to calculate, so how much you should pay for that, right? What is the risk there? Evaluate that risk. It's entirely new domain for insurers that they were previously working with, because, well, for risk management, if you are selling a policy, you need to do that once a year. For usage-based policy, usage-based insurance, you need to do that continuously, all the time, right? If I'm driving recklessly, then of course the system could tell me, well, because you were driving like a crazy, you need to pay more you would need to pay more, right? Things like that. So that's one domain. Of course, another industry we're working with, the automotive. Well, there is a whole new, well, maybe not new, but the whole world of possibilities with connected cars, with, I don't want to talk about self-driving cars because this is something that is happening. But I think it's not a case of half a year or year. We still need a lot more to be able to do that. But even with connected cars, so or smart mobility domain, those areas are really developing very fast, and all the big players in the industry are really going there. We are seeing that as well as a company. So all of them are very heavily investing in applying those possibilities, those capabilities that AI gives them, right, to speed up their businesses, to really help grow their businesses faster.
Okay, cool. Roman, thank you very much for awesome conversation, and I hope that we'll see each other again sooner than later.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed my conversation with Roman about AI and about machine learning and all that stuff that hopefully will make our lives and jobs easier, and we can just go to the beach and chill. And please comment, subscribe, like, and share in the social media to help us grow our channel. And see you on the next episode of Score Couch.